Grok by XAI have released some exciting new tools since we did initial bubble tutorial video. I'm going to dive in this video into how to use the search tools to do a web search and an X content search. So this is quite exciting because with the X search, you can search for keywords, semantic, user search, thread-based search. So it's basically an access to all of the data I'd imagine that you can find on X, which of course was previously Twitter. But before I dive into that, we can only make videos like this because of our members.
Tired of searching YouTube for bubble tutorial videos?
When you become a Planet No Code member, you get access to our complete video library. That's content you won't find on YouTube.
It's hundreds of bubble tutorial videos plus 4 of our courses. Learn about a particular bubble topic just by searching for it,
or use our custom trained AI to ask questions specific to your project, receive detailed answers, and
recommended videos. So with access to hundreds of bubble tutorial videos, courses, and an AI assistant that learns about the app that you're building, becoming a Planet No Code member is a bit of a no-brainer. Click the link in the description to sign up today. Here I am on the XAI documentation, and I am in the tools search tools. And when I first loaded the page, this example box was on Python. So if you change it into Bash, it makes it much more compatible just to copy and paste into the Bubble API connector. And there are two things that are immediately different, which means I can't just immediately swap it into what I had initially set up. Here's my my Grok API call from a demo that I previously recorded. And the difference is that this is the completions endpoint, and this is a list of messages, whereas it's clear here that they want you to use the responses. I think that this is kind of trying to keep up with the JSON syntax that OpenAI are now using. They too have transitioned from completion to responses, although I couldn't say which one did it first. So I'm going to change it to responses. And I'm going to change it to change this bit here. I'm simply just going to copy this across. And then I'm going to just initialize my call because it's likely that the structure that comes back is different. Okay, here is our response. So let's say that we're using Grok 4.1 fast reasoning. And what Bubble does here is it previews one example of every type of output that comes through. So we can see that outputs is a list to really understand the data that's been sent back. And I need to do this in order to get the right data out when I want to display it back to the user in the workflow is by opening up the raw data. So I can see that output comes back as a list. Each item like this, that's one item. This is another, is an item it returns. And what it looks like is that it's chaining together, it's kind of making up what it thinks are going to be a range of search terms that are going to get back relevant data for my search query. And the query was something like, what is XAI? So we can see, I think it's invented these relevant search terms and it's conducted these searches. But this is not relevant for showing to my user. So I need to make sure that my output is not going to be where type equals web search call. It's going to be where output content type output text, because this is what I want to show back to my user. And then there are actually all these useful annotations too. I mean, if you think about how the UI works on chat apps nowadays, you would be showing the citations at the bottom of the message. Let's now take this output and I'm going to demonstrate how we can add it into a page. So I'm going to click save because that trains Bubble what to expect in the output. If we vastly change what we've got in here, for example, if we go back to the chat completion endpoint, it's not going to work because the response is not the structure that Bubble is expecting. I've got my Grok page here from my previous demo, and all I've got is an input, a send message, and then a response. And if I dive into the workflow, I use my API call. I'm going to need to make that add in some dynamic values in the API connector, and then I'm saving the response. Let me just go back all of these steps just in case it's unfamiliar. So I've got a button on my page, and I've got a multi-line input, and I've got a text label with a response. This is because I've got a custom state on my page. So if I wanted to create a new one, I could go here and I could call it text and name it response. that's how I get to this bit. A custom state is a way of storing data without it being saved into the database. If the user refreshes the page, it's not going to be saved. So it's a good kind of temporary bucket to store something. And then all I'm saying here is that my page, which is called Grok's custom states response, is just going to print the text down below. If I go back into the API connector, I need to add in my dynamic values. And in this part of the API connector, Bubble tells me to use triangle brackets. So model states how it is. It's content user that I want to change. Notice that I'm going to remove the speech marks. That's because there is a text modifier we're going to add into this point in the workflow that's going to JSON safe it. JSON safe wraps everything in speech marks, and it ensures that any special characters which could break the JSON syntax, because that's the most common error that people get when working with this, it means it's all accounted for. It is made safe. So I'm simply going to rename this content. And then if I wanted to reinitialize it, I would need to write in some test data here, and I'd need to wrap it back in speech marks. Otherwise, we're going to get an error. But I don't need to reinitialize it unless I really wanted to check that I've not broken something already, but I don't think I have. So now let's go back into our workflow and add in our Grok send message. The reason that this appears like that is because I have got it named XAI Grok up here. Send message is my action, and this is action, not data, and I've successfully initialized it. There's no red down here. If none of those things are completed, you won't see it as I'm seeing it hit. So now I'm going to add in my multi-line input, and then here's JSON safe formatted as JSON safe. If you leave the speech marks in the API connector, you're double speech marking it, you would get a JSON syntax error. I now want to save my response, so I'm going to say set state, find that custom state, which is on my page, which is called Grok, my response. And then I need to find the exact bit in the output, which we saw when we initialized the call. So it's output. And then this is where it gets a little bit tricky because it's lists. I might need to reinitialize just to see, because I do wonder whether they all had content. So I'm going to initialize the call. I think this takes slightly longer. I mean, Grok 4.1 is very fast, but it's because it's doing the web search. So it's output content. But now I'm not asking a question it needs to search for. So I'm going to say, what is Twitter? Now it should have to do a web search. And yeah, it's taking slightly longer. Okay, let's be really sure where we're getting it from. So we get back outputs, but only one is content. Okay, that's slightly annoying. It'd be helpful if it wasn't labeled like that. So I think we need to say outputs first content. No, it's not. No, because they don't all have content. Basically, what we're trying to do here is find exactly the right bit to filter down to in the API connector. I'm just going to open in the workflow. I'm just going to open up a dev tool so that we can more easily explore this JSON. Okay, all I've done here is paste the full response into a tool which allows me to expand and close bits of the JSON tree. You could find something similar. If you just Googled JSON tree, you'd find an online tool that would make that work. Because what I want to do is to be able to collapse content, because I'm looking for what is the thing that I can filter to get the right output, because it's not this bit and it's not the one below, it is this bit. So actually type, these are all web calls, so it's type message, and then it would be in here text, type message text. This might take a few tests to get it right. So back into the workflow. It says output, I want to filter where type equals, and if I just
clear this so I can type into it message. I'm just going to really be sure I've got that right. Type message, yeah. And then let's assume it's the first one that's responded. I then want content, which is also a list. So now we're down to, how's it gone? Here. So content contains 4 things. I want where formally just go text because it's the first one. I'll say contents, first items, text. If that's not going to work, I am going to debug it. Right. Let's test that out in the preview. Okay, let's ask, what is Twitter? Send message. Okay, so we're waiting for a response. We would normally get a syntax error by now if there was one. So I'm going to assume that it's getting the response. And if we don't see any text, it's because I haven't found the right part of the response. No, but there we go. We get our response back. The reason that is partly cut off on the bottom is because I've whipped together this page really quickly and the layout is fixed. So it just means that I'm restricting the height. Obviously, if you were building, an app for users, you'd make your page layout rows or columns so that it's more properly responsive. I just want to dive back in because I realized that I might have missed off a part here. When you set up the Bubble API Connect, you would add it through plugins. The authentication is private key in header, and you prefix it with bearer and its authorization. I know all that because in the documentation, it tells me it here. You don't need to pass content type application JSON across because that is a default value in the Bubble API connector unless you supply something different at this point. So there we go. That has covered how to use the tools, the search tool in Grok. I'm quite excited about testing out their collections because there's a lot of different approaches now for if you wanted to provide like custom training data, keep your token count down by only retrieving the relevant data. So I'm probably going to experiment with collections and maybe record a video on that topic soon.